Everybody? Welcome back to the channel. The day has finally come. The much anticipated, long awaited Model S and X refresh is here. We're taking a look at the website. We're going to give our initial impressions, our initial thoughts. We'll go through the specs on the website, and then we'll look at the pictures in more detail, just giving our insight and our thoughts on this particular refresh. So here you have it on the website right now, live on the website is the Model S, calling out the plaid version, and this is the new design. Here's a quick flash of what the old design looked like, or the legacy design, if you will. And now you see the new refresh, the updated. Not so much on the outside, but definitely a lot going on in the inside, which was the real point of contention when it comes to a refresh in the car. I think the body itself, personally, has a pretty timeless design. They could have gone a little bit more aggressive, personally, but I think the small tweaks they made are still good. Still a noticeable difference from the previous version in terms of modernizing it and unifying the design language across the fleet. Okay, so looking at the stats here, we've got 390 miles of range. We've got 1.99 seconds 0 to 60. First production car ever to get under 2 seconds 0 to 60. 200-mile-an-hour top speed, 1,000 horsepower. Insane. And this is the plaid version. Now, there's two variants in this. We'll talk about that as we go along, but just looking at the site, again, just very clean, very simple, and it's really, really giving us a sigh of relief because, we were kind of nervous about the S refresh and the X refresh and what that had to bring, but we're happy to see what we are seeing, which is 1,000 horsepower and this lovely all-new interior. Look at that. That's amazing. Amazing. They knocked it out the park on this one. This is a really, really good update to the Model S and X. We'll talk about the steering wheel in just a bit, but basically what it is, it looks like they've incorporated the feedback from owners and kept that instrument panel. That was the big thing for us. The big question mark on a lot of owners' minds is where they're going to get rid of it, where they're going to copy the Model 3 and Model Y design language and have just a single screen. And at the end of the day, this is a luxury sedan and luxury SUV. When we talk about the Model X, it has to compete with similarly tailored vehicles such as Lucid, who are coming with a luxury sedan as well. And multiple screens is really where it's at when it comes to luxury, luxuriousness, convenience, having multiple screens, and justifying that price point. Again, keeping it a lot higher than the Model 3s and Model Ys. So it definitely should give you some more incentive to spend that additional money. Okay, so just looking at this design, I'm really, really excited about the design. Has the kit steering wheel. We'll talk about that again in a second, but it has those two screens. It's taken the vertical touchscreen, the 17-inch vertical touchscreen, and made it now a horizontal touchscreen. That was another sort of question mark on our end is, hey, if they were going to use the horizontal screen, are they going to make it smaller like the 3 and the Y, which isn't really great to use, even if it's going to be full screen. In terms of the size and scale of the S and X vehicles, doesn't fit their stance, as the same as it does for the Model 3 and Model Y, which are a little bit narrower than the Model S and X. So this looks absolutely perfect. A beautiful blend of the different design languages while still staying faithful to things that customers of the Model S and X are used to. So this is really, really good. Really happy to see that. We'll point out the details in these screenshots in just a minute. Just want to scroll through the site really quickly and give our initial thoughts. Again, that horizontal screen definitely integrated. The steering wheel here, they're talking about a stalkless, no stalks, no shifting, no anything. This is going to be interesting from a regulation standpoint and interesting from a usability standpoint. Finally got that rear seat that can fold down in the middle and have those cup holders present, more storage, and maybe even wireless charging. We'll talk about that as well. But yeah, this is really, really exciting. Really happy to see these updates coming in through Tesla. I'm glad they made this update the way that they did, and just really, really excited about it. Want to order a Tesla, a new Model S, a new Model X right now immediately. We've even got the screen in the back where it gives you accessibility for children or passengers in the rear. Not the biggest screen in the world, but hey, it's better than no screen at all. We've got the wireless charging, which is great. We've got some updated sound systems here, keeping the massive storage to be able to put bikes and other large objects in the back, which is great, while still presenting, the back seat the way that they do right now, where in terms of you having it have 2 passengers, a 2x2, or you can have it as a 3-seater, 3-row in the back if you fold the seat up. So really, really good stuff there. Visually, again, exterior wise, not really many changes. They really just changed a little bit of the front fascia, a little bit. The chrome delete is there. The factory chrome delete is there. So no more chrome on the outside. That's always a good thing, especially in this day and age where that's sort of the desired trend. And then beyond ludicrous, we're talking about going plaid and that going faster with the tri-motor setup. So talking about the electric powertrain, looking at the stats here, 3.1 seconds, 0 to 60 is nothing to slouch at. It's still going to do really good, especially for a sedan, a family sedan that's really heavy. 412 miles of range are the key things we were looking at here. The range, 412 and 390, long range versus plaid. So one of the things they did here is they sort of moved the timeline forward by making the plaid version available sooner rather than later, as soon as end of February, I believe. And what they did is they basically split plaid in half, and they made standard plaid using the same 1865 cells that they're currently using in the Model S and X. And it looks like the plaid plus, now they're calling it, is going to be using the new cells, the 4650 cells. Okay, so that's the difference here, and that's how they're able to accelerate this platform to come out sooner. The plaid platform, that is a tri-motor plaid platform. Again, range is really the key here, because this range using the current cells is 390 miles of range, which isn't bad, but it's not what we expect in terms of battery enhancements, efficiency gains, things of that nature with the new motors and such. Same thing with 412 for the long range. That's not too far off from where we are right now with the long range version. But then the Plaid Plus is 520 miles plus. So that's definitely an indicator that they're going to use the new cells. I'm happy to hear that. I'm not mad at that at all. It allows them to get to market quicker. It allows them to refine this tri-motor platform sooner, get any kinks out before the actual Plaid Plus, the higher end version. And it also allows them to allow other competitors to show their hand as well before they can make some final adjustments on the Plaid Plus to make it even faster or even better than that. So that's definitely a good thing to do. All right, visually, again, the same. I wish they would go with those sort of opaque tail lights like the Model X, 3, and Y, but it seems like those are still the same for now. But again, I'm not mad at it. It's a design that we've all come to love. Could definitely use some more enhancements in terms of making it a little bit more aggressive. But I think they've also made this a little bit wider too. So it's going to be interesting to see some specs on the width. And if they made it wider, it's going to give it more of an aggressive stance, make it handle better, and also going to change its presence on the road as well. All right, again, the rear diffuser has been changed a little bit. Nothing too crazy here. It's looking a little bit more reminiscent, like a little bit of a nod to the classic rear diffuser, which I was very fond of before they changed it to the new sort of simple diffuser. So I like that here, and maybe makes it available for a tow hitch potentially. I'm not sure about that. The new arachnids, I'm very partial to the old arachnids, so these new arachnids aren't that great, but it's good that they're going in that direction. They're a lot more flush and flat, which probably bodes well to aero. I like the fact that the older arachnids sort of protrude out a little bit and give it a little more of an aggressive stance as well. But these are not bad. I'm not mad at these. I don't like the standard wheels that come with them at all. So definitely we'll be getting these if we decide to go this route. We do have an order in for the Plaid. We had one in before when they announced it. So this is just going to further that excitement. But it's just a matter of, hey, do we get the Plaid, Model S and a Roadster, or just the Roadster? Not sure on that. Okay. Otherwise, just giving more stats about where you can drive, the impact zone. Again, my theory has always been that they're hesitant to radically change the design of the Model S and X because of all the work that they've done to put into the structure of the car, safety ratings and crash tests and all that stuff. That stuff can carry over because they're making small modifications to the vehicle. If they make radical designs, they'll have to go through that whole process again. They may be lower in some categories. It may be less than 5 stars, depending on how they do it. So I think that they're just trying to play it safe, allowing them to ramp up production really quickly, but also maintain the safety factor, which is what you see here. All right, same thing in terms of the cameras. None of the cameras have changed. I know Elon talked about some new camera hardware and a new full self-driving computer down the road. We're not quite there yet, so I'm happy to see all the content that's there now is still the same and still consistent. Okay, it gives me confidence that that if you bought an older car, older than this new sort of S and X, you're still going to have relevant hardware. So that's a good sign. All right, auto lane change, all that good stuff is there. and then the actual specs, the details of it, the quarter miles of it, the weight of it, things like that. What we're not seeing here is we're not seeing the width of it. And again, it does look a little bit wider than before, so that's always a good thing. Okay, and you can order one now, and basically it's going to be available, come February, end of February, and then Model X shortly after that. So again, we'll talk about Model X in another video, but I just want to touch on this really quickly because this is just, the highlight of the week for us, being able to see, this level of detail, being able to see the screens, being able to see, the different images that we have here that represent the interior. Definitely a good thing. A very, very good update by Tesla. Did not disappoint in terms of the interior. But let's jump into some of the images. Let's talk about the images in more detail and understand exactly what we're getting when we talk about these images, what things look like, and any little Easter eggs and little details that we missed. Okay, so inside the interior of it, let's start with the screen here. We see that now the Model S now has door pockets, which is a much welcome feature. Model X already had that, so not big of a deal for Model X owners. Model 3 and Y also have that, but this is huge for Model S. We wanted some door pockets for a while. You get really tied up with the center console. You don't have places to stash things, and this is really, really a welcome addition. Looking at the cabin in more detail, you see that it has basically the selfie camera at the top above the mirror. Reminiscent of sort of ride sharing capabilities, being able to monitor and view who's in the car. You have the two touch screens better integrated into the dashboard. I love that it allows you to be able to use the full screen to its maximum capacity. This screen is also good for driving as it is for consuming media in a cinematic manner. It's also good for being able to see the full map, in a widescreen format, or splitting apps if possible, because you no longer have to dedicate half the screen or 3/4 of the screen on the full self-driving visualization. So that's awesome. I love that they integrated the HVAC design of the Model 3 and Y. So you have that blade that goes all the way across, very sleek, very modern, very futuristic. And then you have a nice, almost semi-continuous piece of wood or piece of trim that goes from the door all the way around and wraps around the cabin. Very luxurious, and again, justifies that price tag. Okay, otherwise, you have the center console. Looks very reminiscent to the new updates to the Model 3 and Model Y, where you can pull this tray, push that tray forward, and you have cup holders probably in there. You probably have some storage under the armrest there as well. And then you have the wireless chargers, which are a much welcome feature for that. I just hope that they stay put. Obviously, if you're going to talk about going 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, you want to make sure that if you have a phone there, it's not going to fly back in the back seat, hit someone in the face. Hopefully, there's a mechanism there to keep it locked into place, specifically when you're driving fast or driving spirited. All right, otherwise, it looks very familiar, but also updated. And that's the key thing about Tesla. They want to make things seem familiar, but also update and look forward thinking and forward looking towards where the future is going to be going. So that's all good stuff here. This particular view just really points out how scarily close this redesign is similar to our proposed design. For those of you that follow us, we did a little bit of a mock-up of what we want to see in terms of a Model S refresh or redesign, incorporating this horizontal screen with the instrument panel. Take a look at it right here. And then now look at the actual redesign that Tesla did. Eerily close. Obviously, they have more tools at their disposal. Like, we're not graphic designers over here, so we couldn't do too much with it. But just the basic concept of having that horizontal screen, a similar feel for the center console as the Model 3, but keeping that instrument panel, that instrument cluster, really bodes well. So again, kudos to Tesla on this. Great job on this. I'm happy you guys listened. I'm happy you guys did not throw away the instrument cluster. We see that the release mechanism is going to be similar to the Model 3 and Model Y, where you push and it actuates the door open. Interested to see if auto closing and auto opening doors, soft closing doors as well. Hazard button is in the middle. Not that big of a deal. No one's going to accidentally press it. Maybe it's capacitive. Maybe it's not an actual physical button. But it's great. It's fine there. It's out of the way. It doesn't bother anything. It doesn't bother the aesthetic to me too much. So it's not a problem there. Visibility is great. The screen is not too high. It's right at the level of where the windshield ends. So that's a good thing. And probably where the driver sits, you're going to be a little bit higher than it anyway. So as long as you get that clear sight line of the entire dash, your view is going to be uninterrupted. And that's going to be great. And again, the indicators, the capacitive buttons on the steering wheel are there as well. So no big deal there. Otherwise, it just looks like a very comfortable place to be. Okay, now let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is that yoke steering wheel. This is something that Tesla's been trying to get into production for quite a while now, and they've tried it with several vehicles, and to no avail. They haven't gotten it in, but I think it looks like they're really trying to give one last push this time around with the Model S, the Model X. They also have the Roadster coming out with the steering wheel, and also the Cybertruck coming out with the steering wheel. Okay, so this is the elephant in the room. This is the thing everyone is always talking about. Some people like it, some people hate it, some people don't understand it. I personally like it. I think it's a great fit. You'll see it's a stalkless steering wheel. So no more stalks on the side for turn signals, no more stalks on the side for autopilot. Instead, they have those capacitive buttons that you'll see on there for the turn signals, for the lights, for wipers, for the horn, as well as the voice commands as well. Okay, not sure how we're going to activate autopilot or full self-driving from this, maybe by voice command, but there's no stock, no dedicated button for it right now at the moment. Okay, so one of the things everyone needs to realize when you think about this yoke steering wheel is that it doesn't operate the same way that a normal steering wheel operates. And anyone who saw the Roadster debut, you'll see how that works. And basically the way that the yoke works is that this steering wheel, instead of having to make 360-degree turns to a circular steering wheel to turn left and to turn right and to do U-turns and to do parking, this is a much more sensitive steering wheel that where it would take a typical steering wheel a 360-degree turn, it'll take the yoke steering wheel maybe 45 degrees of a turn to get the same level of travel on the wheels. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different feel, probably take some getting used to. But again, they have to pass regulations to be able to get this in. I don't know that everyone's going to pass them, but if they do, I think it's a welcome change. They initially tried to get this steering wheel. This is the spaceship style steering wheel that Elon initially talked about for the Model 3. Most people don't realize that. I don't think they got approved for that, or something happened where they sort of had to delay it and put a regular circular steering wheel minus all the capacitive buttons with more just the standard click wheels there. So now some time has passed. They probably have approvals or maybe getting close to getting those approvals, and they can approve this particular steering wheel. And maybe what you could do is have this as an option and say, hey, you can optionally get this wheel, or you can get the standard circular wheel with the same center portion of it where you have the capacitive buttons and the scroll wheels, just to give people options. But by having the wheel like this, you also have greater visibility to the rest of the dash, and more importantly, to the driving visualization on the screen. All right, so let's take a look at the touchscreen really quickly. Looking at it really quickly, it looks wonderful. It looks great. It looks more flush. It doesn't look like it's sort of just tacked on as an afterthought, the way that it kind of is in the Model 3 and Model Y. And also seems a little bit tilted towards the driver, which is the way that the vertical screen of the Model S and X is right now, and which is the way that it should be in the Model 3 and Model Y, where you reduce glare, you reduce reflections that kind of distract you or don't allow you to see everything on the screen. It should be driver-centric, so it should be tilted towards the driver itself. One thing I do notice about it is that it seems like if this is the UI going forward, they're going to make two variants, one for the visualization to be on a separate screen and one to be on an integrated screen. So I wonder what that's going to do for the legacy Model S and X UI when these designs sort of take off and go further beyond what they're capable of presenting. So just an interesting note. Wondering what they're going to do with that. All right, now jumping into the back seat. The back seats look amazing. They look comfortable. They look like someplace you definitely want to spend a lot of time in for road tripping. You've got a little touch screen or a little screen just in general in the back. Maybe it's touch screen, maybe it's capacitive. The passengers can control their own climate potentially, but more importantly, they can play games and they can watch movies on this little screen in the back, which is great. And then again, the armrest that folds down from the middle seat to provide cup holders and additional space. So this is great for us because we have the center console in the back to make it a 2x2. We love that look. And this is giving us that look with the functionality of being able to fold the seats down flat, which is what we don't have right now without removing the center console. So this is definitely the best of both worlds, giving you that executive rear seat vibe. One thing I will note from this particular view, which is what you can't really see from the front, is they go with those same non-movable headrests in the front. This is a no-no, Tesla. You gotta fix this. You gotta make this a little bit more luxurious. This assumes that everyone's head is going to be at the right position. They're going to need to tilt forward. We need some flexibility and some versatility here to be able to move those headrests up and down as needed. and then make them just more comfortable that way for whoever's going to be driving. So hopefully they'll be able to fix that. But again, on the positive note, we've got the door pockets on the rear doors as well. And again, that different contrast, it just looks really, really well done, really, really high end and luxurious, and really justifies that price tag. I sort of saw that they started to move away from the sort of chrome interior and replace it with what they call dark carbon, I believe. And that seems to not be the case here. I thought they would have gone with the dark carbon in here, but it seems like the trim on the entire car, around the screen, around the cup holders, and on the doors are all the traditional classic lighter chrome trim that they used to have in the Model S and X, going back to the beginning. So this is definitely going to be interesting to see if they're going to keep that, or they're going to offer that dark carbon variant, which again just makes it more futuristic and matches the exterior chrome delete and sort of takes that all away all around. Super excited to see these roll out. Looking forward to test driving some, getting a feel for them, and seeing how good they really are. But hey, I've talked enough. We're super excited. I'm going to go to sleep now. You guys let us know what you think about this update, about this design. Are you going to get it? Are you excited? Are you not going to get it? Do you love the steering wheel? Do you hate the steering wheel? What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Let's talk about it. And until the next time, enjoy your day. Enjoy your Tesla.